What's the difference between your company and the country of Ireland? Well, for one thing, nobody's going to sink 113 billion euros into saving your company when it goes belly up. But let me ask you a different question. How is your company similar to the country of Ireland? Well, I think the similarity is your company can go belly up, just like Ireland did. I know what you're thinking. You're saying to yourself, no, 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 no. I've been in business for 50 years and my numbers are strong as strong gets. Well, Ireland had been around for centuries and their numbers were pretty spectacular too. All of their numbers were going north for 14 years. They were considered the economic miracle of Europe. They were called the Celtic Tigers. And as a matter of fact, they went from being one of the poorest to one of the richest countries in all of Europe. But yet, in the span of a few short years, they'd plunged into disaster and went from being the economic miracle to being an economic debacle. Well, how could this happen? And more important, how can we take a lesson from that to make sure that it doesn't happen to our companies? Because if it can happen to a country like Ireland with the track record that Ireland had, you have to believe it can happen to us. Well, I think it fundamentally came down to three cardinal sins that Ireland made and that companies make all the time. First one is arrogance. They started believing their own press. I bet these government guys were sitting around thinking, God, we're pretty smart guys. We got this government thing down. We're the economic miracle kids. And that, I think, led them to complacency. And year after year, as the numbers kept getting better and kept getting better and better, I think they just got complacent and said, we don't have to do anything. As a matter of fact, we shouldn't do anything. This happens to companies. It may even be happening to your company today. And then the third cardinal sin I believe they committed was denial. Because we're so smart, we couldn't have put our country in a position where there were any problems. There couldn't be any problems out there because we're really smart guys, and because they'd been so complacent for so many years, they couldn't see the problems. And if they did see them, because they must have been out there, they denied the existence of them. And those three cardinal sins, I think, are what plunged them into the disaster that they're in now. And that can happen to your company too. You have to make sure that you don't let it. So here's what I want you to do. As the CEO, you need to obsess over your numbers, and you need to obsess over your company when it's doing very well. Everybody obsesses over the company when it's not doing well, but by then it's too late. So I want you to obsess right now. If your company's doing well, I want you to obsess over it right now. Get your organization out of complacency if that's where they are, and I bet you that's where they are. Get your people out, look for the problems on the fringes where the foundation is starting to leak, and get those problems solved and jump on those opportunities. Don't wait. Don't let your organization get complacent. And finally, don't let them be in denial, because they will be. If they've been complacent for a while, as Ireland was, they'll be in denial. They'll come back and they'll say, boss, we've got no problems out here. It's okay. Everything's okay. Everything's going to get better next quarter. Don't believe that line. So, take a lesson from Ireland. That's not bad.